Eating cereal with water is better than with milk. Hello everyone. In this video we are reading 12 unpopular opinions of Reddit. Please consider subscribing if you enjoy the video. You shouldn't be allowed to drive a motorcycle unless you have killed a man for his crystal methamphetamine. I am tired of all these pussies thinking they are tough, because they ride a motorcycle and die an early death and blame it on car drivers, instead of their poor life decisions. A real motorcyclist has killed at least one man for his crystal methamphetamine and will instead die from other poor life decisions. I'm not telling my kids to never hit girls. Got a call from the school saying my son punched a girl in his class. I was mad and ready to ground him when he got home when it occurred to me that I should ask why he hit her. The principal told me that the little girl pushed him and took his lunch money and continued to take her folder and smack him with it when he got fed up and punched her in the shoulder. Now, if they knew that the little girl had done all this and was continuing to do it, they should have intervened. They didn't, so my son defended himself. Not in trouble. When I told the principal that it seemed justified, she told me that I shouldn't make it seem okay to hit little girls. I let her know that my children know that it's not okay to hit anybody, but that it's also not okay to stand there and just be hit either. It's totally okay to defend yourself against anybody and everybody that is attacking you. In a lot of children's shows like Peppa Pig, the fathers are consistently portrayed as bumbling idiots and the mothers as awesome heroines saving the day, and it sends a very wrong message to little kids. Like in virtually every show aimed towards little kids, the girls are heroic, the boys foolish, the girls save the day. I don't mind that the girls save the day every once in a while, but for them to always do it and the male characters to always lag behind is a pity. Like there's Barbie movies too, in which Barbie saves the day and is portrayed as competent and heroic, whereas Ken is a borderline idiot who kisses the ground she walks on and always gets in trouble. A lot of kids shows are like this. The father figures are weak, the mother figures all-knowing. In Peppa Pig, specifically, the father of Peppa is an engineer. He has blueprints lying around the house and everything, has an office, works hard, is a pillar of the community, and yet he's constantly made fun of and used as the butt of jokes, because he's a bit fat. It's kinda lame and gives a terrible example. Meanwhile, Mommy Pig is awesome and pretty much flawless. The whole thing is pretty insidious. From an early age it sends a message of girls being empowered. But how about the little boys? Like, sure, there's still superhero movies, but those are aimed at a little older audience. Plus all those superheroes are usually genetically mutated in some way and unrealistically handsome, so few kids would identify with them. I'm a guy and I wish I could be pregnant. I think pregnancy is wonderful. I know it's not all lollipops and rainbows. I supported my wife every single day through her pregnancy and I helped her through the nausea, the body aches, and the terrible pain of giving birth. I know there are risks and complications and it's not something everyone wants to do. I wish I could do it, though. My wife and I agreed we wanted a baby as soon as we had a house. Thankfully, she was able to become pregnant. I really feel for the women who can't have babies and wish they could. And we now have a toddler who is an absolute joy. She loved being pregnant. Every day we talked about the baby growing in her womb that we couldn't wait to meet. I kissed her belly hundreds of times, and I fell in love with her all over again every time I looked at her. Her hand was pretty much glued to her belly, always rubbing it and humming a song. The bond that is formed between the mother and child is simply beautiful. The hardest part about it is that I'll never be able to realize this wish, and I never had a choice in the matter. Women can choose, in most cases, whether or not they want to become pregnant, and I don't know how the logistics of it all would work. Anyway, maybe if we lived in a world where both men and women were built with the capability to have babies, kind of like seahorses. I know it's not realistic, but if it were possible to give me a uterus transplant, I'd consider it. I would go through considerable pain and effort if it meant I could get pregnant. Every guy I've ever told has either looked at me like I'm insane or just straight up laughed at me. Women I've told seem to understand, but nobody really takes it seriously except for my wife. She knows it's not a joke and that it's an actual dream of mine. Any guys out there agree with me? We get it. Females are empowered. I've got a son and a daughter, and every time I go to shop for clothes, I see girls' shirts with slogans like "The future is female" and "Future president" and "Girls run the world." Boys, you get superheroes and monster trucks. Commercials seem to focus more on girls taking on typically boy-oriented activities now. It gets pretty damn old. Girls get all these awesome, uplifting, powerful messages that you can be, do, accomplish anything. Little boys, not so much. Even calling someone bossy is frowned upon. I got corrected by a nosy woman for telling my daughter she was being too bossy with her brother. Was told no. She's just strong and executive-minded. Thanks for undermining my parenting. Lady, we get it. Quit browbeating us. Thanking God for something a human clearly did is a massive insult to that person. I'm not sure if this is truly a massive unpopular opinion, but I've seen enough posts and comments online. I've had enough. I have nothing against religion. You can believe whatever you want to believe in order to get through life and live your best one. However, critiquing others is, no matter how positively, by thanking a being we have no concrete proof exists for the doing of someone else is just a massive insult and injustice. I've seen so many posts and comments on nice posts about how, for example, God is amazing for helping those doctors save that little girl, and for successfully giving her the surgery she needs. No, I don't care how real you think he is. God had nothing to do with that. Those men and women went to many years of medical school, where they learned from and were taught by other professionals, not God, and paid many dollars to get to where they are. God did not guide that person's hand, skill, knowledge, training, and their muscles did. God did not come down from the heavens. God did not pick up a scalpel and fix your child. God did not do that surgery. They did. And saying that God did is a massive insult to that person, because it negates everything they've done in order to save someone. It completely ignores the effort, time, money, and passion they put into their career and life in order to save someone else's. Especially if that person is not religious. Sure, you can call it a miracle or God's work if you had just enough milk for your cereal or finished both the shampoo and conditioner at the same exact time. God didn't do that either. For all of your previous actions did. But whatever, it doesn't really matter, because nobody did anything monumental and praiseworthy there. But to say that God did something amazing like save a child's life, take down a school shooter, apprehend a thief, found a missing person, etc. is just wrong. It's simply appalling and unfair, and blatantly discredits the actual people who went through many tiring, challenging, immense processes to give someone something amazing. You're giving the praise to a, quite frankly, fictional being rather than the physical ones that concretely and very obviously sacrificed so much for you. It's just wrong. Influencers are the worst thing to come out of the 2010s. A bunch of vapid nobodies propelled to fame and fortune by tricking their viewers into thinking they can be their friend. Their sole job is to make people think they actually use the crappy products they are paid to advertise. The whole thing is a case study in herd mentality and the gullibility of the modern consumer. I like being bitten by mosquitoes. It's very interesting to sit there and watch them draw out the blood. I can sometimes see them getting bigger as they go. It's like a nature documentary right on my leg or arm. I feel nice letting that mosquito have a meal. It probably gets shooed away all the time, left to starve or worse live in fear of being killed every time it needs to eat. That poor mosquito didn't choose to eat blood. It's just hungry. The show Friends is painfully unfunny and is the most overrated thing ever. Every time this damn show comes on I change the channel immediately. It's just so horribly unfunny and the laugh tracks after every single line is just the worst thing ever. I can't put it into words how much I hate this show. Tomato is terrible in a burger. It makes the bread soggy. It's often cut too thick and it drips everywhere. It only belongs in a burger in the form of sauce. It is a terrible choice for a burger filling. Thanks for eating. Eating cereal with water is better than with milk. I am a true believer that cereal with water is better. The taste of milk conflicts with the taste of the cereal, whereas water does not. While still getting the same texture, water does not ruin the taste of cereal. My friends crucified me when I told them this, so for this reason I am coming here in search of others who share my beliefs of water being better than milk. If your first language is English, you have no excuse for not being able to distinguish between there, and there. The same goes for your versus, your, and also to, and to. These words are so commonplace that getting them wrong is just lazy. I feel like telling people, politely, when they've used them incorrectly is the right thing to do, and saying language is fluid isn't appropriate for such a serious mistake. I think it's fine to ignore minor mistakes with punctuation and spelling, but using the wrong there actually changes the meaning of a sentence, often to nonsense, since the wrong word is being used. I've seen a weird trend of people proudly not knowing the difference between these words, and it just feels like they're patting themselves on the back for not understanding something that takes less than 5 minutes to learn. It's embarrassing and it honestly makes people look stupid. Please subscribe if you like the video. It really helps the channel to grow. Adios.